Hey people, and welcome to a new series on this channel. In this, I would like to explain different musical terms and phrases which are very important to clearly communicate with each other. Because in music, except for notes, maybe sheet music, we can't point towards something and say, that one. We have to describe it. And the more accurate, the more precise our descriptions are, the better, the clearer we can communicate, and the better we can prevent misunderstandings. The biggest example I experience a lot is the triplet. Many people get the triplet wrong, and so there is a communication gap, so to speak. In this series, I want to explain different terms and phrases so we can all clearly communicate better with each other and make music better. If there are some expressions, some technical phrases in music which you don't understand or haven't found a good explanation yet, let me know in the comments and I might make a video about that. And please also check the playlist. The link is in the description below. There you can find all parts of this series. I'm sitting on the drum kit. I'm a drummer. But this series is not just for drummers. I will explain different musical phrases, some of which might be more important to drummers, but I think everyone, every musician can gain something from learning the definitions of important musical expressions. Today we want to talk about the backbeat, a very, very, very important concept for drummers, not just for drummers, but especially for drummers. The beat is the pulse of a measure. So the beat is where you might nod your head or tap your foot, and we have different beats within a measure. The downbeat is the point where the conductor might stroke down, so that's usually the one, the first beat of a measure. In the next video, we will talk about the offbeat, but today we want to talk about the backbeat. The backbeat is the 2 and the 4 of a 4/4 bar, and that is usually played, for us drummers, on the snare drum. So no matter what you play, if you want to play the backbeat, your rhythm is always accompanied by a strong hit on the backbeat, on the 2 and the 4 on the snare. My theory is that it originated from jazz music. It's the root of modern drum set playing. And already in early jazz, there was an emphasis on the 2 and the 4, and later it was played with the hi-hat. So the left foot would play the hi-hat on the 2 and the 4, and this then went into modern rock music, and for over 100 years our Western popular music is dominated by the backbeat. And you can see that very clearly if you listen to a song like, for example, Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters or Beautiful Day by U2, you will notice that the drums are not always playing the 2 and 4, but nevertheless there is still something percussive going on the 2 and the 4. So even though the snare drum is playing mostly 2 and 4, whenever it's not, there is still something to cover the gap. That's how important the backbeat is. You want to rely on the beat not to change. That's why the backbeat is so important. Let me demonstrate. I will play something, just anything on the drums, but whatever I do, I will always play the 2 and the 4 on the snare drum. Even if I don't play anything else, just the 2 and 4, you will notice that you have a good feeling of where the beat is. You have a good rhythmical orientation. Of course, I not always play the backbeat on the snare drum. When it's softer, I might play a rim click or just to change it a little bit, sometimes I play the backbeat on one of the toms. Or if it's a bass solo, for example, I play 16th notes on the hi-hat and accent the 2 and 4. But there's always this accent on the 2 and 4. So the backbeat is not the snare drum, the backbeat is the place within the bar where you accent the notes, but that's usually played on the snare drum. So if someone asks you to play a solid backbeat, that does not necessarily mean that you play only the snare drum on 2 and 4, but that you have to play a reliable groove with a strong emphasis on the 2 and the 4. And everything else is just embellishments. Let's be honest, usually in rock and pop music, we have to play a simple groove with a nice fat backbeat. That is the most important part, and that's totally fine. I mean, you can play anything you want, but we have to be realistic, and the backbeat is a very, very important thing for us to play and to know the concept of. And if you know the concept, you can switch it around. You can displace the backbeat or get rid of it just for a strong contrast, for a strong effect. A very good example, by the way, is the song Beating Round the Bush by AC/DC. It's pretty wild and fast, but if you listen closely, except for this short break after the chorus, the backbeat is played the whole time. Even when he goes to the crash cymbals and plays those different hits on the crashes and the stops on the hi-hat, the snare is going through all the way on the 2 and 4. Very interesting example, Beating Round the Bush by AC/DC. Okay, I hope that made the concept of the backbeat a little bit clearer for you. Please write in the comments if you have suggestions for other terms I might explain in these videos. Please like and subscribe. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.